In the tense days before the secretive Beidaihe meeting, a major signal emerges. General Liu Yuan makes a high-profile appearance in Beijing. General Zhang Youxia redeploys troops into Beidaihe. The ties between military movements and shifts in Beijing's political landscape run deep. Beijing now stands at the most critical turning point in its recent history. Welcome back to Final War with Katherine Hu. The Beidaihe meeting will be decisive for the rapidly intensifying situation in Beijing. Today, we continue tracking developments during this politically charged gathering. Developments with potentially game-changing significance. In our last episode, we examined the military duo of General Zhang Youxia and General Liu Yuan. Two figures whose combined weight could shape the trajectory of China's political struggle. Among them, Liu Yuan's role is particularly unique. And just as Zhang Youxia was conducting military exercises, Liu Yuan quietly disappeared from Beijing. Today, we pick up from there. After several days away, General Liu Yuan has returned to Beijing, and not quietly, but with a conspicuous high-profile appearance. Where did he go? And why did he choose to return to the capital precisely on the eve of the Beidaihe meeting? As we noted earlier, on July 31st, China's Ministry of Defense hosted a reception at Beijing's Great Hall of the People to mark the 98th anniversary of the People's Liberation Army. 2 days ago, Nikkei Asia, a longtime observer of Chinese politics, published an analysis of the reception, noting that the footage from the event carried highly unusual political signals. The first signal, one we discussed in our previous episode, was the conspicuous absence of 7 full generals from the main table, every one of them a Xi loyalist. The second and even more striking signal was the reappearance of General Liu Yuan. Footage showed 5 large round tables arranged at the front of the hall, with smaller tables behind. The size and prominence of the front tables made their status unmistakable. And there, at one of these front row tables, sat 3 eye-catching retired generals. The most prominent, Liu Yuan. Flanking him, Wang Guanzhong, who served as CMC General Office Director under Hu Jintao, and Cai Yingting, former PLA Deputy Chief of General Staff. All 3 are politically sensitive figures, and their sudden simultaneous appearance in the most prominent seating is extraordinary. In past years, they were placed at the small tables in the back. Even more telling, all 3 share a defining political trait. They are not part of Xi's faction, and each had been sidelined or disciplined by him. Wang Guanzhong was firmly in Hu Jintao's camp. Cai Yingting's highest post, Deputy Chief of the General Staff, came in the final 2 years of Hu Jintao's term. Xi Jinping marginalized him soon after taking power, forcing him into early retirement. Liu Yuan's own trajectory is equally notable. Since his retirement from the military in 2015, he has held a civilian role as Deputy Director of the National People's Congress Financial and Economic Affairs Committee. He no longer holds a military post. Yet at this year's Army Day reception, he appeared in full military uniform. And Cai Yingting, officially just a retired regimental level officer, was seated right beside a former full general. The optics were anything but routine. For seasoned observers, the scene feels familiar. It mirrors the 2024 National Day reception, when veteran leaders, long sidelined by Xi, suddenly reappeared and sat at the same table as him. Then, as now, the political message was crystal clear. Liu Yuan's political weight hardly needs explanation. Rumors suggest Zhang Youxia brought him back into the fold to help stabilize military control, temporarily taking over the role once held by He Weidong. Veteran journalist Gao Yu later claimed Liu had left Beijing to avoid suspicion. But our own analysis points in a different direction. His departure was likely real, but not to hide. It was to act, to move. The timeline suggests he left in late July, and by July 31st at the Army Day reception, he was back in the capital, uniformed, visible, and deliberate. Returning precisely as the Beidaihe meeting was getting underway is not the behavior of a man avoiding notice. It was a calculated signal. These 3 high-profile appearances by retired military elders, what do they really tell us? I'd like to hear your take. Leave me a comment and share your thoughts. Now let's turn to the next question. After leaving Beijing and then returning, where exactly did Liu Yuan go? And what was he doing there? We're now hearing 2 different accounts. One says General Liu Yuan went to Yunnan, another says Sichuan. But the big picture is the same. Both place him in the southwest. And that is fascinating, because China's southwest is Zhang Youxia's home turf. The 14th Group Army in Yunnan was where Zhang Youxia's military career began. He started there as a private, rose to squad leader, then company commander. His combat service in the Sino-Vietnamese War earned him a first-class merit citation, leading to steady promotions until, in 1990, he became commander of the 40th Division of the 14th Group Army. In 1994, he moved up to deputy commander of the 13th Group Army, and in 2000 became its commander. And where is the 13th Group Army based? Chongqing, which means the entire southwest is Zhang Youxia's deepest power base. The 14th Group Army is no ordinary unit. Because Hu Jintao also rose from the southwest, it was long regarded as part of his inner circle. In 2006, while inspecting a Northern Fleet naval exercise in the Yellow Sea, Hu narrowly survived an attempted attack allegedly by Jiang Zemin loyalists. 2 PLA Navy warships suddenly opened fire on the destroyer carrying Hu, killing 5 sailors aboard. Immediately afterward, to avoid a second attempt on his life, Hu flew directly to Yunnan and inspected the 14th Group Army in Kunming, staying for a full week before returning to Beijing. That alone tells you the extraordinary level of trust he placed in this unit. How do you interpret Liu Yuan's choice of destination? Let's dig deeper into what he might have been doing there. With this background in mind, the theory that Liu Yuan left Beijing to conduct political and military groundwork in the southwest no longer sounds like idle speculation. It fits perfectly with a Zhang Liu inside-outside coordination strategy. 2 generals working in concert, one operating on the inside, the other on the outside. Liu's mission? To reconnect with Zhang's old subordinates in the region. If unrest were to erupt in the capital, Liu would be the crucial reserve force, the one who could march troops into Beijing to restore order. And this kind of deployment likely had Hu Jintao's blessing. Conversely, Liu Yuan's return to Beijing on August 1st, Army Day, suggests something else. Zhang Youxia's groundwork in Beidaihe was proceeding smoothly. Which brings us to the next question. Beyond staging military exercises during the Beidaihe meeting, what other arrangements did Zhang Youxia make there? The most widely circulated account is this. Zhang Youxia deployed the 82nd Group Army to Beidaihe. For now, we still cannot independently confirm this claim. According to reports, in early July this year, a unit of the 82nd Group Army suddenly moved from Baoding into Beijing to take part in security and defensive operations for the Central Urban Work Conference. That conference brought together nearly all members of the CCP Central Committee, effectively concentrating the entire pinnacle of the party's power structure in one place. By late July, Zhang Youxia is said to have issued an order sending another contingent of the 82nd Group Army from Baoding to Beidaihe, taking over full security control of the senior leadership retreat compound there. Beidaihe is an extremely sensitive location. Whether an incident breaks out in Beijing or in Beidaihe itself, the 82nd Group Army would be in position to intervene at once. If this report is accurate, it would mark an unprecedented breach in CCP history. Inside Zhongnanhai, there is an iron rule. During the Beidaihe meetings, all security is handled exclusively by the Central Guard Bureau. No regional field army is permitted to operate in the Beidaihe area, and any troop movement there must be approved at the very highest level and filed well in advance. While this claim is difficult to confirm through official channels, one thing is beyond dispute. The 82nd Group Army has intervened in top-level CCP political crises before, more than once. The 82nd Group Army is, in fact, the former 38th Group Army before Xi Jinping's 2017 military reorganization. Today, it falls under the PLA's Central Theater Command, with its headquarters in Baoding, Hebei Province. The 38th Group Army once belonged to the Beijing military region and was its main strike force. During the 1989 Tiananmen Square crackdown, the 38th Group Army received orders to carry out the suppression. Its commander, Major General Xu Qingxian, made headlines worldwide when he bravely refused to obey the order to fire on students. This act became a focal point of the crisis and a key reason the 38th's name spread far beyond China. Later, Commander Xu Qingxian was suppressed. Jiang Zemin, who rose to lead the Central Military Commission after the Tiananmen crackdown, ordered a secret military trial against him. Xu was convicted and spent 5 years in prison. The 38th also has a long history of close contact with the top leadership. On March 19, 2012, a political takeover attempt by Zhou Yongkang, then head of the CCP Political and Legal Affairs Commission, and Bo Xilai, then party secretary of Chongqing, was exposed. Zhou mobilized a massive contingent of the People's Armed Police to stage a power seizure plot, aiming to encircle Xinhua Gate and Tiananmen. Hu Jintao's response was swift. He urgently deployed the 38th Group Army into Beijing. On the scene, the 38th's forces faced off against Zhou's armed police. The armed police fired warning shots into the air, but the 38th's elite units, far better trained and equipped, quickly disarmed them, quelling the attempted takeover. This moment decisively shaped Beijing's political trajectory, paving the way for Xi Jinping's smooth ascent to power in 2015, not long after Xi took office, and while he was still under threat from rivals. Zhang Youxia personally oversaw a lightning purge of the Central Guard Bureau using the 38th Group Army. Former 38th Commander Wang Xiaojun was installed as director and key guard positions were reshuffled. This operation came at the peak of Xi's anti-corruption campaign, when he had made many political enemies, faced serious security risks, and was dealing with instability inside the Guard Bureau itself. In short, the 82nd Group Army, formerly the 38th, has a long tradition of intervening in the CCP's highest-level power struggles. And in today's volatile climate in Beijing, Zhang Youxia's decision to position this force in Beidaihe as a safeguard against unforeseen events is entirely understandable. Recently, we've told quite a few stories about the military, not to spread sensational rumors for clicks, but to help you see something deeper. The CCP system itself is a political machine that crushes dissent. From the very beginning, the CCP rose through violence and deception. It has always believed that political power grows out of the barrel of a gun, and it seized power through that gun barrel. But its tendency to overuse military force beyond all limits and boundaries has repeatedly fueled vicious internal struggles. That is why some clear-eyed voices within the PLA have argued that the military must be nationalized, kept out of factional infighting. It is a rare and wise position with far-reaching meaning. The greatest obstacle to China's renewal is not Xi Jinping. It is the Communist Party itself. Only a China free from the communist system will have a future. Get the real story behind the CCP's shifting power games and see where US-China relations are headed next. Support the vision of a new China without communism. Subscribe now and join us in bringing the truth to light.